So, a lot has changed since part one of this video. About about 5, 6 new comics I have. Well, it is now 7 because I got this on August 1st or 7th. This is a cover by Chris Piers of Comic Tropes, and I got it because mainly I just wanted to support him because he's a great comic YouTuber, and I think he's a pretty good artist. He doesn't think of himself as a really good artist, but I think he's a lot better than me. And I went to school for illustration, but it really isn't my thing. Vampirella. I like horror comics, but Vampirella is not my thing. But I did read it, and yeah, it's still not my thing. But for anyone who's into Vampirella and who wants to support it for the creators who did the interior work, then more power to them, and this will be right up their alley. But for me, it's not my thing. But I really like the cover, and I like what Chris does over on Comic Tropes, and I got this to support him, and that's all that matters. So go check his channel out. I think I'll leave a link in my video description, and then you can subscribe or just check out his videos to see if you like him. I think you will. Anyway, back to this. So these 6 comics, I haven't gone through all of them yet. I've read Gideon Falls and The Sacrificers, and I'm slowly going through World Tree, which I think is right now ending up being another one that's just not my thing. But I think it's, as an original story, very interesting, and plays on people's fears of the internet, the dark web, things like that, where people can easily fall into these traps of believing that a certain person, like someone who makes a fake account bot, is talking directly to them, understands them, and sees them for who they are, and lures them into this unknown world, and creates this sort of cult. That sort of thing, it is very relevant. So I appreciate it for that. I appreciate it for its relevance to our current um, time. Its timeliness. There were some great moments in this, like this. That is really cool. But it's just not my style of art. Um, that's a note for me. Whoops. Fernando Blanco, very competent, good artist, but this isn't my style. What's contained within something like Gideon Falls and The Sacrificers is more of my style. Um, even even this comic. Now this is small press. Um, Escape Velocity. This is small press, so you're gonna find something that is more along the lines of hand drawn and very old school with something like all of these World Tree, Murder Inc., and Die. You have something a bit more contemporary, very digital art that it's this is the current way that artists do things. It's all digital. Um, the the kind of artwork that is at least inspired or partly done uh, with hand-drawn pencils and inks like this, like Gideon Falls, that's going out of style. And fewer people are doing this. Um, so I think it is nice that small presses do work like this. They do hand painted covers, a bit like Alex Ross is still doing, and they do pencils and inks the traditional way. I really appreciate that, but I don't. This this should be like treated as um, something that's gonna bring back this old style of creating comics. This isn't like the last bastion of world gone by. I think there are plenty of people still doing this. It's just that really they're doing the something hand drawn like what Chris does here, but then it's once it's colored, even in black and white, you don't notice whether it's been hand drawn because someone's gone over it with digital colors. So I think when some of these people who still do hand drawn stuff can be a bit self righteous and what I want to emphasize for people is doing digital artwork. A lot of it is still hand drawn. It's just that it's translated through an iPad, some sort of tablet, or your laptop, and a lot of the work that's put into it gets kind of lost because you have a device doing a lot of the work for you. It can erase a lot of mistakes. It can make things seem really polished and print ready, but I don't see that. I don't like it, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because you can still get really great work out of it. Like here in the Sacrificers. This is really good work. But yeah, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But that's not necessarily something to focus on. I think everything like this, comics are subjective. So whatever really grabs your attention, like the Sacrificers or Gideon Falls, or even this, Murder Inc., it caught my attention because it's done in a cartoon style that I like, because it reminds me of Batman, the animated series that I grew up with. So that's one of the reasons why I really was drawn to this. The colors aren't really my thing. I think it is really stylistic, and I appreciate that, but it feels in places too dark, and too I think the color palette is a bit too limited. I think I understand it's to go for sort of certain tone and atmosphere, but I think they could have really made this really shine if they added a bit more color. I think it's just down to personal preference for me there. But this is really interesting, and I'm trying to get into cartooning, so this would be a pretty good example of how to make very stylized, simplified features in human figures. But for Gideon Falls specifically, I think that this is a great example of realism, of capturing the human form in a very realistic, very something really that feels real, that feels tangible, and that's what I really like about this. Andrea Sorrentino is turning out to be one of my favorite artists, so I have to look out for his work. And Jeff Lemire is just a good writer. So, yeah, there's that. And I think in part one, I was looking into the way that Andrea Sorrentino built up shadows and depth in the figures, and I was noticing these sort of hatch marks, these lines, these kind of squiggly lines, and I thought that was really cool. and that's a unique way to uh, create a shape, to um, amplify a form that is partially darkness, or to create lines on a face. I think that's just the coolest thing, and it feels like you don't really encounter someone who's willing to do something different like that, and create forms that feel like they're just on the verge of floating away or something. There's this, it kind of seems like static, you know. I really love that. I really love this like muted palette for this comic, because when red is used, it really pops. It really shines through. Um, and I feel very like there are so many artists who I found I kind of look up to now, and in the contemporary world, it's really hard for me to find work that really speaks to me, because for one, I'm not really keeping up with the current uh, published comics. I'm subscribed to a few newsletters, like Brian Michael Bendis's newsletter, and a few others, but I don't really keep up with those trends. So um, I could also I could get caught up in believing that a certain era was um, the best time for comics, or I feel connected more so to excuse me, early '90s comics than anything from 2000 to the present day. Uh, so going out and going to Comics Experience, which I highly recommend. Go to that store. It's great. People are nice. They have so many comics. They have a lot of comics that are just $1. Um, my cat wants to go outside. It's not happening. So you'll hear her whining. Sorry about that. Well, I shouldn't be sorry. She's the channel mascot. She gets to say whatever she wants. Um, but I'm finding myself in these spaces where I feel I can find what appeals to me, and I don't have to really necessarily worry about following all these trends. I'm not necessarily a comic book reviewer. I review these books for my channel, but really what I'm doing is I'm trying to make the kind of content that I make a bit more appealing and palatable, because I know that just painting every video and or drawing with like music in the background could get stale and boring, and I don't want to seem like I'm creating a content and creating videos for this very very niche thing. Or well, it's not really a niche. It's very common, but what I'm thinking is that maybe my painting videos could be a little stuffy and boring, and I don't want that. So I want to have uh, some sort of anchor to the contemporary world of art that isn't like the upper echelon, tippity top, elitist shitheads. I want something that's very grounded, that's very um, like not not so tied to this academic sort of rigor and tradition. So this is what it is, and I'm glad that so many people like it. I have 31 subscribers now. That's pretty great. Uh, let's keep it going. I especially appreciate the welcome and the kindness from other comic book creators and collectors and reviewers. That's really awesome. I'm also a regular on Chris Peters' channel, Comic Tropes, and Pros and Cons, so you'll find me there as well. Um, I just feel that really, while I'm not like everyone else in that I'm always buying new comics, I can't afford that, to be honest. But I am trying to maintain some sort of thread, and I can't keep up with everything, but I can use the comics that I do have to explain some sort of technique, or to talk about what I liked about an artist, or what I didn't like, and I can just share my thoughts and my opinions about art while creating it, while showing people that um, art is not really complicated, and there's a way you can get into talking about it that doesn't feel so beholden to that academic and very almost unreachable um, vocabulary. And so here we are. And I'm just going to talk a bit more about Gideon Falls. I'm not really going to talk about Sacrificers, other than I thought it was interesting. I really liked it. But I think it's a very much a cliche by this point, that kind of story, that coming of age, a kid is rebelling against their um, possible destiny or their upbringing, and they're trying to break away from tradition. They're trying to create some new world order, and they become the leader of some rebel group. Um, I think, though, the character design is really good. I'll really commend them for that. Character design is difficult, and uh, I really appreciate seeing some anthropomorphized birds, some um, weird horned creatures, beings made literally of fire and rock. I really like that. Uh, I may continue with it if I ever get enough money to do that. Uh, but for now, I think I'll just have the first issue, and that'll be all I'll say for now. Um, and Murder Inc. I haven't started. Die I haven't really started. So, and the Escape Velocity I haven't gone into really. I just take the little flip throughs, little glances of the work and what I'll be getting into down the road when I start reading it. But other than that, I don't really know much about the stories yet. All right. I should have gotten this before I started. I have to get a cable. Uno momento. Don't steal my chair, Ashes. Nope, you can't groom yourself here. Whoop. Okay. Yeah, it's too bright. Gotta go first setting. There. I have to get another cable. Ugh. I kept talking after I think I even glanced at the viewfinder and noticed that my camera stopped recording. But I'm coming to the end of the video, so I was talking about some things that I just feel strongly about in the world of comics, in the world of art appreciation. I may have to go back and find out whether some of that got recorded in the edit. Anyway, I think the art world has an accessibility issue, to put it simply, and I think that any way we can continue to bridge those gaps and bring everyone closer, audience and artist, like through YouTube, through Patreon, uh, through conventions, that's the way to go. And I love that we're able to connect in this way. By the way, speaking of Patreon, you can go find me on Patreon. My username is abuck22. I will leave a link in the description, as well as any information about the books I talked about. Um, so there's that, and also give me a follow on socials. Uh, I'll have social media links as well. Um, I think I haven't really been drawing a lot in these videos, but I am. I guarantee you, I am painting. You know, I am working. Uh, I have these stretch canvases. Um, I'm not working on my comic book, my comic 2 page or 1 page, my short piece. I'm not working on that. That honestly, it's bothering me. I think I'm just at a point where I need to look at it with fresh eyes and try something new. Um, painting is where I'm painting and drawing is where I'm most comfortable, and I'm working on this oil painting. I'm running out of supplies, so any monetary support you can give would really help me. I have run out of gesso. This is for my acrylic paintings. I use it for my oil paints as a sort of base color before I start painting. But this, I'm out. I'm out. I've had this for like 2, 3 years, and I'm finally out. I'm running out of Sumi ink. This is what I've been using for my comic books and some abstract pieces I've done recently. And I've had that for like a bit longer, I think. And I ruined one of my paintbrushes. I ran out of stick glue. I gotta get some supplies, guys. So, go follow me on my socials. I'm open for commissions as well. You know, even though I got all this work going, I need to do work that maybe isn't just for myself, and I can do that. I can allow that in my schedule. I'm doing a lot. I really should be busier than I am, but I don't want to get overwhelmed. So I'm just happy to be here, talking about comic books, and sharing my thoughts. And I'm finally, back after all those technical issues I was experiencing. I'm back to doing this. Uh, anyway, so that's pretty much it. Um, Thank you for watching. Remember to feed the algorithm cat, uh, or else the algorithm cat will be sad, or they will get sick and die of starvation. Uh, that would be terrible for the algorithm cat. Remember, the algorithm cat, even though they don't always love you, they're there, and you have to take care of them. Remember to take them to the vet. Keep it going. Uh, you can go follow me on my socials. Go to my Discord. I set up memberships there. Starts at $3.99. Highest right now is $9.99. But I may add more tiers. Maybe I could ask about that. I don't know. Do a poll in my community tab for y'all. And also, if you like this video and all the others I've made in the past, like and subscribe. And I'll be back next week with a new video about something else. Maybe I'll go into the back of my comic book box and find something cool to talk about. maybe since I'm on the topic of cartoons a little bit, I can go fish out some of my Bugs Bunny comic or a few others I have, and we can talk about that. Yeah. So that's all for now. See you soon.